Okay, this video is in regards to the Poulan Pro leaf blower slash vacuum shredder. Let me see if I can get the, I don't see it on there. I'll list the model number and serial number in the description, but basically, as you can see, I've got this thing tore down to basically the engine. There's the engine right there. The problem I was having with this is about a 6-year-old blower. I haven't done a lick of maintenance on it since I've owned it. I use it probably every other week for 20 minutes. And I mix, gas and oil mix. I think, yeah, I've been using this Craftsman 2-cycle engine oil. I don't know if that's, actually that's, oh, that's got fuel stabilizer in it. Anyways, I do put fuel stabilizer in there as well. Here's the fuel stable that I use in all my 2 cycles. And my 4 cycles as well as my lawnmower. But basically the problem I was having with this thing was it wouldn't start. It died after I was using it for about 10 minutes one day. And the way it died, it just brrrr, just to nothing. And I knew at that point there was something major wrong. Either no spark, no fuel, one of the two. So pulled it apart, took the carb apart. Well, I didn't actually disassemble the carb. I just pulled it out. There's the carburetor. Pulled it out, sprayed some carb cleaner on it, checked everything out. It wasn't very dirty at all. That didn't do anything. Put a new plug in it. You can see the new plug sticking out of the head there. That didn't do anything. So I checked to see if I was getting spark. It's really hard to test these because this engine is buried inside of this housing, and there's not a good spot to ground that plug and actually see if it's sparking or not. So long story short, I sprayed some starter fluid in there, tried to start it, still nothing. So I knew more than likely it wasn't a gas problem. Typically if it's a gas issue and you spray starter fluid into the intake, you're going to have some type of firing. You're going to hear it at least attempt to fire. I got nothing. It was basically just a, pulling on the cord basically with the kill switch on kind of sound. So I knew more than likely I wasn't getting any sparks. So took the casing off, pulled the plug, found a good spot to ground it, yanked on the cord, still wasn't seeing any sparks. So pretty much assume what is going on with this thing is this little ignition coil, if you want to call it that. Over the years I've heard them called stators. They call it an ignition module, I think, on these. Basically it mounts right there. There's a couple of magnets on this flywheel. You can see the magnets there. As this thing spins, it doesn't actually make contact with the magnets on the coil, but it's pretty darn close. That induces a current and a voltage, and the spark plug boot is there. We should fire the plug as this thing rolls around. So I've either got one of two things bad. More than likely it's this ignition module, coil, whatever the hell you want to call it, stator. It could be the flywheel, but I highly doubt that those magnets have gone bad. I think those are rare earth magnets. They're pretty dang strong. Stick a screwdriver on there and they stick right to it. So I ordered a new one of these from a company other than Poulan, because Poulan doesn't sell individual parts on their website, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you're going to sell a freaking machine, you better offer parts for it. You can't even find this model anymore on their website. Like I said, it's only about 5, maybe 6 years old. Can't buy this model of blower anymore, slash vacuum leaf shredder thingy. So anyways, I found another website that sells pretty much almost anything you can replace on these blowers. I pretty much found just about every part on there. So what I did was I ordered a new coil. It was about 26 bucks. I ordered a air filter, which I've got the air filter over here. There's the air filter right there. It was $1 something. I also ordered a new rope for the pull pulley and a new spring deal that goes inside of here, because pretty much from the first month or two I had it, the pull mechanism would hang up. It wouldn't retract back in. Occasionally, most of the time I could get it to retract. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was only $6, another couple bucks for the rope. So I figured, well, I got it tore down to this, I may as well go ahead and change that. So when I've got the parts in, which will be another couple weeks, I'll put this thing back together, test it out. The only thing I am concerned about is the gap spacing between the ignition and the flywheel. I'm sure there's a spec. I didn't see anything about how much to gap this thing, but there was a pretty good sized gap when I pulled it off. I would say probably as much as a 1/4 inch gap. It was large. Usually you're not going to see that big of a gap. And so I'm wondering if that may have possibly been the problem, that ignition module shifted, creating a bigger gap, which was enough not to generate a spark. Basically, if you got too much of a gap between those magnets, you're not going to get enough current induced to fire off that plug. So that could be the problem. This ignition module could be fine. But I won't know until I get the new parts and test it. I'm not going to put it back together like it is and try to test it. It's just too much freaking work, and it's not worth it. So, I was hesitant to spend $50 on parts, but I like to repair things. I don't like to have to go out and throw this thing away and buy something new just because something died on it. And so, it cost me, like I said, with shipping, a little under $50 for these parts. So hopefully I'll be able to get this thing working like it is. I'm not planning on doing anything with the engine. I'm not going to pull the rings or anything. I'm just going to clean it up as best as possible, put it all back together again and fire it off and see what happens with it. If it doesn't fix it, I'm throwing in the towel on this thing. I'm not putting another dime into it. I'll go buy a new one, and I probably won't buy a Poulan Pro or a Poulan product just because, like I said, I had problems in the first month or two with that pull start. And, I'm not a beginner lawn tool guy. I know how to pull start a piece of equipment. So it was kind of ridiculous. There should have been no reason that thing failed on me. Other than that, I've had really good luck with this thing. Like I said, it's lasted 6 years, somewhere in there, with about every other week use, about 20 minutes a week. So, for the most part, and I didn't drain the carburetor. I just keep that stable in there. It doesn't get real cold here in the Northwest, so I don't have to worry about freezing and issues like that. As long as you got some stable in the fuel, hopefully your fuel doesn't varnish in there. But I even run it during the winter time to keep the leaves and stuff off the yard. So anyways, I will have an update when I get the parts in, and until then, have a great day, and see you next time.